It is one of the most dangerous jobs in naval warfare. You are sailing directly toward the thing that is trying to kill you. You cannot go around it. You cannot go over it. You have to find it, neutralize it, and clear the path, one mine at a time, knowing that at any moment, the water beneath your hull could erupt in an explosion powerful enough to break your ship in half. This is the Minesweeper, one of the least glamorous and most essential warships ever built. And today, we are going to show you exactly how it works. The naval mine is one of the oldest and most cost-effective weapons in the history of warfare. A single mine costing a few $1,000s can sink a warship worth billions. It requires no guidance system, no operator, no maintenance after deployment. It simply sits on the seabed or floats below the surface, waiting for days, for months, for years, until a ship passes close enough to trigger it. The first modern naval mines were used during the American Civil War. Primitive devices filled with black powder, triggered by contact. By World War I, mines had become sophisticated enough to close entire sea lanes and threaten naval operations across the Atlantic and North Sea. By World War II, mines had sunk more Allied shipping tonnage than submarines and aircraft combined in certain theaters. And today, in the 21st century, the threat has not diminished. Old mines from World War II are still being found and neutralized in European waters every year. Modern mines are equipped with sophisticated sensors, magnetic and acoustic triggers, and anti-handling devices that make them extraordinarily difficult and dangerous to neutralize. There are three main types of naval mines, and understanding the difference between them is essential to understanding how a minesweeper operates. The first type is the moored mine, a spherical or cylindrical device anchored to the seabed by a cable, floating at a predetermined depth below the surface. Moored mines are triggered by contact. When a ship's hull strikes one of the protruding contact horns on the mine's surface, it completes an electrical circuit that detonates the explosive charge. The second type is the ground mine, also called a bottom mine, which rests directly on the seabed in shallow water. Ground mines are triggered not by contact, but by the influence of a passing ship, its magnetic field, the pressure wave it creates, or the acoustic signature of its engines and propellers. Ground mines are particularly dangerous because they cannot be seen from the surface and are very difficult to detect. The third type is the drifting mine, an unanchored mine that floats freely with the current, making it unpredictable and extremely hazardous to all shipping in an area. Drifting mines are considered indiscriminate weapons and are banned under international law, but they continue to appear in conflict zones where older minefields have broken up. The Minesweeper's mission is to find these weapons and neutralize them, and it must do so without being destroyed in the process. This fundamental challenge, how do you safely clear a weapon designed to destroy ships using a ship, has driven the engineering of minesweepers for over a century. The answer has evolved through three distinct approaches: mechanical sweeping, influence sweeping, and mine hunting. Mechanical sweeping is the oldest and most straightforward approach. A minesweeper tows a cutting device through the water, a long wire or cable with serrated cutters, designed to sever the mooring cables of contact mines. When a mine's cable is cut, the mine floats to the surface, where it can be detonated by gunfire from a safe distance or neutralized by an explosive ordnance disposal team. Mechanical sweeping can clear large areas of water relatively quickly, but it only works against moored contact mines. It cannot detect or neutralize ground mines, influence mines, or mines with sophisticated anti-sweeping devices, and it requires the minesweeper to sail through the minefield, accepting the risk that it may detonate a mine before the sweep gear reaches it. Influence sweeping uses the ship's own systems to simulate the magnetic, acoustic, and pressure signatures of a larger vessel, tricking influence mines into detonating before the minesweeper reaches them. A magnetic influence sweep involves towing or deploying large electrical cables that generate a powerful magnetic field, mimicking the magnetic signature of a warship or merchant vessel. An acoustic influence sweep uses powerful underwater speakers to generate the sound of ship machinery and propellers, triggering acoustic mines from a safe distance. A pressure influence sweep is the most challenging because pressure mines respond to the drop in water pressure caused by a ship passing overhead, and this pressure wave cannot easily be replicated by towed equipment. Pressure mines are among the most difficult of all naval mines to sweep, and they have been specifically designed to be resistant to influence sweeping, with sophisticated logic circuits that require multiple passes of the correct signature before they will detonate. The pressure mine nearly changed the outcome of the Second World War. In the months leading up to the D-Day landings of June 1944, German forces had seeded the waters off the Normandy coast with thousands of mines, including large numbers of pressure mines specifically designed to resist the sweeping methods available to the Allied navies. The Allies knew that any attempt to clear the landing beaches with conventional minesweepers would fail. The pressure mines would simply wait for the sweepers to pass and then detonate under the landing craft that followed. The solution was one of the most daring engineering decisions of the entire war. The Allies accepted that the pressure mines could not be swept and instead planned the entire D-Day operation around the assumption that mines would be present in the landing zones. Landing craft were designed with shallow drafts to reduce their pressure signatures. The timing of the landings was chosen to coincide with tidal conditions that minimized pressure effects, and the sheer scale of the landing force, thousands of vessels crossing simultaneously, meant that even if mines detonated under some craft, the operation would continue. The pressure mine problem was not solved on D-Day. It was simply overwhelmed by the scale of the assault. It was a decision that cost lives, but it was the only decision that could have worked. Subscribe now, because what we are about to show you is the most sophisticated approach to mine clearance ever developed. Mine hunting is the most modern and most effective approach to the mine threat, and it has transformed the Minesweeper from a relatively blunt instrument into one of the most technologically sophisticated vessels in any navy. Instead of sweeping through a minefield and hoping to detonate or cut the mines, a mine hunter uses sonar and remotely operated vehicles to find individual mines, identify them precisely, and neutralize them one by one, without ever exposing the ship to the risk of detonation. The mine-hunting sonar, a high-frequency sonar system that can image the seabed with extraordinary resolution, scans the area ahead of the ship, producing detailed acoustic images of everything on the bottom. A trained sonar operator can distinguish between a mine and a rock, a piece of wreckage, or a natural bottom feature by the shape of the sonar image and the acoustic shadow it casts. When a potential mine contact is identified, a remotely operated vehicle, an ROV, is deployed to investigate. The ROV carries cameras and lights that allow the operator to visually confirm whether the contact is a mine, and if it is, to place a small explosive charge next to it. The ROV then retreats to a safe distance, and the charge is detonated, destroying the mine without risking any human life. The most critical engineering decision in Minesweeper design is the choice of hull material. A steel hull generates a significant magnetic signature, which would trigger magnetic influence mines before the Minesweeper could neutralize them. This is why modern Minesweepers are built from non-magnetic materials: fiberglass, glass-reinforced plastic, or in some cases, wood. The British Hunt-class mine countermeasures vessels are built from glass-reinforced plastic, the largest GRP vessels ever built, at over 60 meters long. The Italian Lerici class and the American Avenger class use fiberglass construction. Some older minesweepers were built from wood, because wood is completely non-magnetic and was the only suitable material available before modern composite construction techniques were developed. The engineering approach to minesweeper construction varies significantly between different naval traditions, reflecting different threat environments and different operational priorities. Germany, whose coastal waters in the North Sea and Baltic are among the most heavily mined in the world, with thousands of World War II mines still on the seabed, has developed some of the most sophisticated mine countermeasures vessels ever built. The German Frankenthal-class and Ensdorf-class vessels use a combination of GRP construction, advanced sonar systems, and remote-controlled mine disposal vehicles to operate in the extremely challenging shallow water environment of the German Bight. Japan, whose home waters contain significant numbers of World War II mines and whose strategic sea lanes are critical to its entirely import-dependent economy, operates the largest mine countermeasures fleet in Asia, with over 25 dedicated vessels using the most advanced sonar and ROV technology available. The United Kingdom's Mine Countermeasures Force, the Hunt-class and Sandown-class vessels, are considered among the most capable in the world, combining the world's first single-role mine hunter design with advanced influence sweeping capability. Each of these nations has developed its minesweeper fleet in response to specific geographic and strategic realities. but all share the same fundamental engineering challenge of building a ship that can operate safely in the most dangerous waters in the world. The choice of non-magnetic construction materials is only the beginning of the acoustic and magnetic signature reduction measures on a modern Minesweeper. All machinery on board, engines, generators, pumps, is mounted on vibration-isolated rafts to minimize acoustic signature. The propulsion system uses low-noise propellers running at low RPM. Many modern mine countermeasures vessels use azimuthing thrusters, propellers mounted in rotating pods that can point in any direction, giving the ship precise maneuvering capability at very low speeds, essential for the careful, methodical work of mine hunting. The entire ship is degaussed, demagnetized, using electrical cables running through the hull that generate a magnetic field, canceling the ship's own magnetic signature. The crew of a modern minesweeper operates under conditions of extraordinary psychological stress. Every transit through a suspected minefield is a deliberate act of courage. The crew knows that despite all the technology and all the precautions, the ship could strike an undetected mine at any moment. Mine clearance operations are conducted at extremely low speeds, sometimes just a few knots, because slower speed reduces the ship's acoustic and pressure signatures, reducing the risk of triggering influence mines. An operation that covers just a few square kilometers of ocean can take days or weeks of painstaking, methodical work. The mine-hunting sonar operators spend hours staring at acoustic images of the seabed, searching for the subtle shape anomalies that distinguish a mine from natural bottom features. The work is slow, dangerous, and largely invisible to the public, but it is absolutely essential to the freedom of navigation that the entire global economy depends upon. The strategic importance of mine countermeasures was demonstrated dramatically during the First Gulf War in 1991, when Iraqi mines damaged two American warships, the USS Tripoli and the USS Princeton, in the Persian Gulf. The Princeton, an Aegis cruiser worth over $1 billion, was severely damaged by a single Italian-made Manta bottom mine. The incident shocked the U.S. Navy and led to a massive investment in mine countermeasures capability. More recently, Houthi forces in Yemen have deployed naval mines in the Red Sea and Bab el-Mandeb Strait, one of the world's most critical shipping lanes, forcing a significant international naval response and demonstrating that the mine threat remains as relevant in the 21st century as it was in the First World War. The future of mine countermeasures is being shaped by unmanned systems, autonomous underwater vehicles, and remotely operated vessels that can conduct mine hunting operations without putting any human crew at risk. Several navies are already deploying autonomous mine hunting systems, underwater drones that can survey large areas of seabed autonomously, classify contacts using artificial intelligence, and relay their findings to a mothership operating at a safe distance. The ultimate goal is a fully autonomous mine countermeasures system, where a single surface vessel deploys a swarm of underwater and surface drones that collectively survey, identify, and neutralize an entire minefield without any human entering the danger zone. The Minesweeper is the ship that makes every other ship possible. Without it, harbors cannot be opened, supply routes cannot be secured, and naval operations cannot proceed. It is slow, unglamorous, and operates in conditions of constant danger. Its crews receive little recognition for work that prevents disasters rather than responding to them. But the freedom of the seas, the freedom that allows the global economy to function, that allows humanitarian aid to reach conflict zones, that allows navies to operate in contested waters, depends on the quiet, methodical work of the Minesweeper. It is the most essential ship you have never heard of. And every time a warship, a tanker, or a container ship passes safely through waters that were once mined, it owes that safe passage to the Minesweeper that cleared the way.